Hi everyone, I'm Ben from Ellii, and the purpose of this video is to give you a high-level overview of the platform, to give you a better understanding of the purpose of the platform and some of the functionality of the platform. There are many other videos on Ellii that go into much more detail about the features and the content, but this particular video should take about 5 to 7 minutes, and hopefully by the end of the video you have an understanding of what Ellii really is and how it can benefit you and your students. I encourage you to go into the detailed videos after this one to see specific functionality, but let me start with a high-level overview. So Ellii is a subscription-based content platform. We used to go by the name ESL Library. We've been around for about 21 years now, and we've been building content gradually over time, over the last 20 years, and over time this platform has become one of the world's leading and largest content platform for English language teachers. The purpose behind it is to allow you to find high quality, ready-made, engaging materials when you don't have time to prepare those materials on your own, and to administer those materials either through printable form or digital form to your students. So the platform is now used in K-12 schools, private language schools, colleges, universities, adult ed programs, and more recently it's started to be adopted by a lot of online tutors and private teachers online as well. So let me start by giving you sort of a look and feel of, or look and understanding of how Ellii works. Right now I'm inside of our lesson categories area here where you'll find a whole bunch of different types of categories like discussions, debates, grammar-based content, young learners and adult literacy content, so for very, very low-level students, English for newcomers, things like everyday dialogues or role plays or functional English. There's academic and business English. So there's a wide variety of different categories of content, and you can search for content in that way. But you can also search for content by just typing something into the search up in the top here, like present perfect, and you'll find lessons right here in the search results area. Going back to our lesson categories, if you find something that is of value to your students, you can just simply click on this category, and once you go into a category, you'll find a variety of different content that has been subcategorized as well. So for example, we're in grammar right here, so you'll see verbs and prepositions and modals. If you're inside of a discussion area, you might see topics on the environment or politics or fashion, etc. When you find something that you like, you can simply click on it and you'll go into the lesson itself. You'll get a description of the lesson, and usually there are both printable versions and digital versions. Occasionally there are only printable versions, and there are some sections on the site that only have digital, but for the most part there's a mix of both on every lesson. You can generally get a feel for what this lesson is about from the description and the level above here. By the way, you can set your levels to the CEFR levels, the ELD levels, the CLB levels, so depending on your region and the type of classes that you're teaching, those levels can be changed. You can find a little bit about the focus down below. And over to the left, you'll see different things like the digital tasks and the printable, but we can launch right into them right here. So you'll see that there is a lesson. This is a low-level young learner grammar-based lesson in printable form, and in digital form you can go right into sort of interactive activities that you can present in front of the class or assign to your students for their own devices as well. So this is a multiple choice exercise, there's matching exercises as well, there's all different types of digital activities that you can do with your students, either presenting on the board in front of them or having them assigned the content in advance that they can access on their phones, their tablets, or their computers. So that's sort of a look and feel, or look and understanding of how our lessons work. When you see a lesson that you like, so for example, I'm teaching an intermediate conversation class right now. There's this section here that I really like in teaching with them, discussion starters here. If I see a lesson that I think might be fun with my students, this lesson here on, let's say, procrastination, something we can all relate to often. If I like this lesson, I can add it to a class. So I'm going to add this to my intermediate conversation class. and I can put it into a bucket here of like saved and recommended. Ellii will recommend you content based on certain attributes of your class, but you can also save material in there into saved and recommended, or you can put it into a prepping lane right away where it's ready to go for next week, or teaching, which makes it available to your students right away. I'm going to put it into saved and recommended, hit saved. And then I can go back up here to my classroom area here. So I can set up classes and I can invite students and onboard them, get them set up with their own accounts. And when I go into something like classes, I'll have my classes down below. I can label them with the colors and give them a title and a name. This is that class that I was just sharing a lesson into or adding a lesson into. And if you recall, I put it into the saved and recommended area here. So that was the procrastination one. When I'm ready for it, I can move it onto my board here. I've got a board here that sort of gives me a high-level overview of everything that's going on at the site, everything that I'm doing with my class, I should say. And when I'm ready, if I want to teach that coming up soon, so maybe in the next couple of weeks I want to teach this, I'm going to move it to my prepping lane here. I'll hit save. And it's gone from my saved area here, and it ends up right in my prepping lane up at the top, but I don't want to teach it next, so I'll just move it a little bit down. I'm going to teach it in about 3 weeks. And right here in the teaching lane is anything that I want to be focused on right now with my student. And anything that I put into this teaching lane, my students have immediate and instant access to. So I'm going to show you what it looks like for a student here. This is a student account here. The student has a few different classes, but the student is logged into this particular class, intermediate conversation class, and his name is Amir. So this is a student view. And you can see that he has one lesson assigned to him, space tourism. He can click in, and he's got some tasks already accessible to him inside of this area here. He's already started on one of the tasks. Right now, he can continue the lesson and go right into those digital tasks for him to start working on. But I'll just exit out of this. I'll show you as well that when you're ready to move a lesson back to your students to start working on, so we're going to work on the new moon race next, I can just simply drag this into the teaching column, and the next time that Amir comes back to that class, that lesson is automatically and instantly loaded into his page. We've got a slight delay here, but there it is. You can see new moon race is right there for Amir to start working on. So anything that you put into that teaching lane automatically becomes accessible to your students, and this lesson planner is a great way to really stay on top of what you want to teach next, what you're teaching now, and to be able to see over here in the taught lane what you taught last week and in the previous weeks. So I'm done with that space tourism lesson with my students. I can move it over to taught. And once I move it over to taught, if I refresh the page as a student here, my student now sees just that new moon race the next time that he logs in to the platform there. So new moon race is gone. And if he ever wants to come back, if Amir ever wants to come back and see the previous lessons that we worked on, they're all there in past. These are the things that we've worked on before, so he can get back to them and redo them at any point. So that's how the lesson planner sort of works. There's more detail about how you can get into really specifics of assigning content to your students and setting preferences for each of these lessons, but we won't go into that in these details. Now, there's also other areas on the site, things like flashcards as well. So if you want to assign flashcards to your students or create flashcard sets, pretty much anything you'd find in a picture dictionary is on this platform. You can go into some things like animals and wildlife, and then go into things like bugs, for example, or farm animals. You can go into food and drink, groceries, for example, and you can go right into launching a slideshow with your students. But you can also manipulate this content, create your own packs of lessons or packs of flashcards that you assign to your students. And as well, there is a video library where you can find dialogue videos and pronunciation videos that you can play in front of the class and share with your students. So the platform really in and of itself is a content library. It's meant to complement or supplement your own curriculum. It can be used as a standalone curriculum for your class. A lot of schools have started adopting Ellii as their sole or main source of content, but a lot also use it alongside their own curriculum and their own textbooks to enhance the learning experience for their students. That gives you a sort of a high-level understanding of how the platform works. There's a lot more to learn about it. There's a lot of videos that will go into detail about things like creating folders or creating flashcard sets or sharing material with your students or going to our grade feed and being able to leave comments and feedback and suggestions to your students based on the results that they've submitted. But at a high level, this is how Ellii works. So we encourage you to look more at those videos and to reach out to us if you'd like us to set up a 1-hour demo or 1-hour webinar with your school or your organization to go through the platform in more detail and really get you to get a great feel for it. All right, thanks a lot, and we hope you're enjoying using Ellii.